Hey guys, it's TJ at Code Mortar back with another Sabbatical vlog update. And today we're talking cash, we're talking money, we're talking De Niro, we're talking moolah, we're talking monetization, we're talking ads, we're talking Google AdMob. AdMob is a service from Google for placing ads in your mobile applications. You can kind of think of it as Google AdSense for your mobile apps. I'm going to walk you through setting up and displaying three types of ads. First is a banner ad, pretty self-explanatory. Second is called an interstitial ad. It's a big full screen ad. Sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's a video. The third type is a video-based reward ad. That's basically an interstitial ad except for one, it's always a video, and two, your application gets a callback from the ad service so that you know when the user has completed watching the video. Now, showing you all that's all well and good, but first let's take a look at some gameplay with these ads actually in place so we really know what we're talking about. Alright, so this is our Jack the Giant remake, and first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the sound off just so you can hear me better. So first thing, right off the bat, you can see we do have a banner ad at the top of the screen, so that's working just fine. All of these ads are going to be sample ads from Google AdMob. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the game, and we're immediately right into our gameplay. So I'm just going to intentionally off myself. And we're back to gameplay again, and I will again intentionally off myself. And this time we see this is an interstitial ad. So the way this is set up currently, there's a 30% chance of showing an interstitial ad when the player dies. Not good practice. Don't actually do this. Just this is just to show off displaying an interstitial ad. So we'll go back to gameplay. And I will try to make some progress here, and I died. So you can see that our score is 185 with 0 coins, and now we have two options. We can quit, or we can watch a video to get 2 more lives. So for one, don't hate on the design here. There was no watch a video button in the design assets, so this one is all me. So we'll watch a video ad. And this is actually a long one from Google, but I'll just explain a bit what's going on. So we've clicked to display the ad. It's going to play this video ad, and once the ad is finished playing, then it will trigger a callback to our application, and I will catch that callback and award the user 2 extra lives on the game that they're currently playing. So you can see right now, if I click the X, I had the option, it's telling me that I will not be rewarded. So if I were to tap close video right now, then I'm not going to get those 2 extra lives. So I can stick with resume video. The video will keep playing for another 20 seconds. And after that, I'll be rewarded 2 extra lives in my game. And you'll see when we get in there that the score, and if I had collected any coins, the coins as well, would still be the same value, and you'll see the life count will be at 1. That's because we have both 1 and 0 lives remaining. So now we can close this ad, and you can see we have 1 life, and our score is still, I guess it was 785, not 185. So now we can continue playing. And I will die again. And again, a 30% chance of seeing that interstitial ad. This offers no reward to the user, and again, bad practice in real life, just showing off those interstitial ads. And then we'll off ourselves one more time. And this time, no option to view a video, and I'm taken right back to the main menu. So the idea here is you die once, you get the opportunity to, it's kind of like the old school arcade games, pumping in a few extra quarters, except we can't be displaying too many ads or Google will get really mad at us. So that's it for displaying it on the actual device. Now let's take a look at setting all of this up. All right, so this is the Google AdMob admin dashboard. As you can see right now, I have 1 request and 1 impression. Those are numbers for my own ad units. Of course, you shouldn't actually be using your own during development, so I just have the 1 just to make sure that this is actually working and making requests. Really should be using the the development ad unit IDs, which is what I've done through the rest of the project. So we can see here, I can have multiple apps. I only have the one right now. So we can see here under apps, we have Jack the Giant demo, and it's identified as Android. So this, of course, is for iOS as well. And you will need two separate apps, one iOS and one Android, if that's the case. So I can go into my app, and now I can see the numbers that we just saw were the numbers for all of my applications. These are now numbers for just my Jack the Giant demo. And of course they're the same because I just have the one app. I have my ad units. So these are, I've created one sample of each of the 4 different ad types. So there's banner, interstitial, and reward, which we all saw in the gameplay. There's also a native, which very similar to banner, except you have more control over the visual design, and it's designed to kind of go into your application as opposed to the banner ad is very much a separate piece where it's above or below. A native ad is intended to be more in line with your application. But we can see here I have the 4 different one of each of the 4 different types created. Of course, you can create more than one. So, for example, I could have a game that say had 2 different interstitial ads. One that rewarded the user some in-game currency, one that rewarded the user an extra life. So I could actually create 2 different interstitial ads. They would have 2 different ad unit IDs, and they would be triggered and handled differently. So this blue text here is the actual name of the of each ad unit. So I just named them the same as the types that they are. So we can check out my interstitial ad, and we can see we have the ad unit ID and the ad type. So interstitial ads, like I said earlier, an interstitial ad could be an image, could be a video, it could also just be text, but it's one of those full screen, take over the whole screen scenarios. We also have banner, which again, it could be text or image. And then there's different options like the refresh, the text style, things like that. So all of these different ad types that have a few different configurations. But for the most part, setting them up is the same. It's just a matter of choosing the options. The options are all fairly self-explanatory. So I'll switch over to the code. So this is my ad manager controller. So this is a class that's it is carried throughout the application. It's a singleton throughout the entire application. So you can see here, what I've done is just create everything as a string that's as part of the class itself. And these are all the demo ad units. These are all the ones that you're supposed to use for testing. So as you can see, there's different ones for Android and for iOS, and then we have the 4 types of banner, interstitial, native, and reward. So we can see where this is actually in action is in this unit ID method. And we can see here, we saw a video or 2 ago, we had some compiler directives. So similar situation here. So this function gets called, and so this line will get written to every build of the application, but then this line will only get written if it's Unity Android, and this line will get written if it's Unity iPhone. It's the same the whole way down. So this method takes a type, which would be banner, interstitial, native, or reward, and then it returns one of these keys depending on the type that you requested and depending on the operating system. So if we look for the unit ID where that's being used, most of these they're requested and displayed in one of 2 ways. Either there's a request and then a display, or there's a request and display all at once. So with the banners, I believe there's we're creating a new banner view. So the banner view is created, it's instantiated right off the bat, and we pass it so this unit ID method, and then we pass it banner. So the compiler knows that we've built for Android, And because we passed banner, the unit ID method is going to return our banner Android add unit ID. And then we have the sizing and the positioning, and these are just some classes with some static enumerators, just to let us not have to write out all the different options for positioning. We can simply say top or bottom, left, right, things like that. We have all of our event handlers added on here, and I won't go through each individual event handler because honestly most of them aren't actually really doing anything other than logging that, hey, the banner was loaded or not loaded. But this is how we're adding the event handlers. So the banner view class, it has all of these handlers already on add load, on add failed load, things like that. And then we can add our own events. So these are all methods: handle add loaded, handle add failed to load. These are all methods of our class, so we can add them on as event handlers. And the last thing we do is we load the add by calling the create. We call the create add request method, which creates an add request, and then that gets passed to the load add method of the banner view, which then displays the banner. So, like I said, the banner is a case where we do the request and the displaying all at once. Now the interstitial as well as the video, it's a different case because those are videos. We don't want to request the video when we need it. That video could take a few seconds to download. So you can see here we have request interstitial, very similar. Basically the same thing is happening here. We're creating a new interstitial ad instead of a banner view. But other than that, the request interstitial method is pretty much the same as the request banner method. Difference is down here when we have the show interstitial. So we would call request interstitial maybe at the beginning of a level that is going to have an interstitial ad at the end, or on game load. We would call it at some point before we're going to need it, and then the show interstitial is what we're going to call when we actually need to display it. So we call this method, I believe I actually have this method getting called when the player dies or when the player loses a life. And it will first check to see if the interstitial ad has been loaded. And then if it's not, this is just some debugging, error logging. Otherwise, it will then show the interstitial ad. And then the reward-based videos are similar. The reward-based videos are super cool, at least in my opinion. So this is just like we saw with the banners with the interstitial. When we load the video, we're going to add all the handlers, and one of the handlers is handle reward-based video rewarded. So this method gets called after you've completed watching the video. So in the Jack the Giant gameplay, after we watch that minute-long Google video, after we died the first time, and we got our 2 lives awarded, we just got some debugging default code that came with the library, and I load my player score class, and I add 2 lives to the player, and then I restart the gameplay scene. So this method only gets triggered when you complete watching the game or watching the video. Otherwise, you're just going to get sent back to the same screen, and you have the option of watching the video or quitting. So that's pretty much it for taking a look at the AdMob dashboard, the programming behind it. Of course, all of this does it comes with the Google Mobile Ads class. So that's a separate download and installation to add that to your Unity project. But once you have that in there, it's actually pretty straightforward. Well, that's pretty much it for this one, guys, and we are winding down on this little sabbatical journey. I only have a couple days left, but I will be back early next week to wrap things up, and I'm pretty sure I should have one more game left for you next week.